Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Thanks for joining me again today. 2 Samuel chapter 9, story of Mephibosheth. We're still there, still exploring it as it reveals the heart of God to us. One of the things that David did, the most specific thing that we hear David saying to Mephibosheth is, "You're going to eat at my table. Put your feet under my table, eat the king's food, eat with the king's family, and just be here around my table." Now, in that culture, the table it carried more significance than it does for us, for many of us in our culture. In that day, to eat with somebody meant you were accepted by them, you were valued by them, you were included in their circle, you were one of them, one with them, you were in relationship with them. It was an expression of relationship. So what does David do? He invites Mephibosheth to eat at the king's table. And I believe, yesterday we talked about how when Mephibosheth got in David's presence, he learned more about who David was. I believe it's at even another level when he puts his feet under the king's table and he's sitting there with the king's children and the king himself, and they're laughing and they're talking and they're building relationships there. He begins more and more and more to know the heart of David. My point is basically this. The table was a place of fellowship. I want to encourage us to get into the Lord's table. Yeah, I'm talking about communion or the Eucharist, whatever we call it. There is something so powerful about the Lord's table. Jesus said it in John chapter 6. If you eat my flesh and drink my blood, I abide in you, I fellowship in you, I live in you, and you live in me. He's talking there about there is something so unique and special as you and I take communion, as we share in the Eucharist, as we get at the table of the King. We experience him in a different way. It's a different depth. Mephibosheth could have been in the palace. He could have had his own suite of rooms in the palace. He could have had his own servants. He could have had, royal clothing and been looked after. They could have sent his meals to his room. But there's a whole nother level of fellowship when he is at the table of the king. And it said he ate there. David said, I want you to eat there every day, all the time. I want you to always be with me. And I really believe that in the New Testament, I believe with Jesus, David's showing us who Jesus is. And Jesus said, I want to fellowship with you. I want to eat with you. Over and over and over again in the Gospels, Jesus was eating with people. And in fact, in Luke chapter 15, it's what got him in trouble, because the strict fundamentalist religious conservatives said, you're eating with sinners. That is a sign you approve of them and accept them and value them. And there's something really wrong with that. And Jesus said, no, that's exactly my heart. That's the heart of my Father. And here it is with David. People might have said to David, why are you bringing him in here? He is an enemy king. He is crippled. He's a liability. He's not an asset. What value is there in him? He can't fight for you. He can't run errands for you. He can't do business for you. He is bringing no value to your table, but yet you have him here. Wow, isn't that good? Isn't that a wonderful picture of Jesus? He wants us to eat at his table, not because we bring value or because of our service. It's the prodigal son story again. The elder brother said, I've served you and I've obeyed you, but we haven't had fellowship meals together. And the younger brother does nothing except accept the father's embrace. Oh, this is so good. The reason Mephibosheth is at David's table is he accepted the invitation. That's it. He did nothing to earn it or deserve it. He simply accepted the invitation. And I just encourage every one of us today, accept Jesus' invitation to get to his table. And yes, I'm speaking primarily of the Eucharist, communion, the Lord's Supper, but I believe it's even bigger than that. It's any way we fellowship with him, any way that we spend that relaxed relational time with Jesus. We will learn more of who he is. And that's just an incredible good news for us today. I'm so thankful that Jesus gave us the communion service. And, he said, this is my body, take and eat. This is my blood. It's shed for you. Take and drink. And do this in remembrance of me. That word remembrance means bring me into the present in such a way that we are in a real living dynamic relationship at the moment. That's what he invites us to. Well, I encourage you to think about that today and put your feet under Jesus' table and look him in the face and learn more of who he is. It's good. He's good. He's very, very good. Well, God bless. Let's talk again tomorrow.